everybody. Kole Finley here with Breakthrough RE Facebook group, as well as Finley RE Coaching and Consulting. I'm so happy to see everybody here today. We have a very interesting, and I think what will be an eye-opening webinar for you guys today. But before we start out, I see people are saying, where are you from? Hey, do me a favor. When you're on here, go ahead and tell me where you're from. Hey, Rick, so good to see you again, my friend. That's great. Hey, Alina, good to see you. Love it, love it. We've got Shane. Hi, Shane. How are you doing, man? I haven't seen you in a long time. It's so good to see you. Love it. Hey, Trina, how are you? Good to see you as well. So excited to have all of you guys with us. So we have a really interesting topic. Oh, wait, before I get started, we've got Robin, our amazing director of operations. Say hi, Robin.
Hey, everyone.
Robin's going to be watching our chat. So if we need to, if you guys feel free to ask questions in the chat. And if we need to get to those, I'll let it be up to her. She can stop me and we can kind of go through some things here. So for those of you, hey, Aaron. Man, it's so good to see you, buddy. Good to miss you guys. Tell Karina I said hi. Okay, sorry. I got sidetracked here. So first of all, for you guys who do not know who I am, my name is Kole Finley, and I am a business and performance and transformational coach, as well as, like I said, the owner of Finley RE Coaching and Consulting. I have been a realtor since 2009. I was Rookie of the Year in 2009. When I first started, I closed 36 transactions in my first year. I'm a neuro-linguistic, I can almost say it, neuro-linguistic, I can almost say NLP practitioner, I'll just say it that way, instructional designer. I'm having a day today. Over 20 years of experience as a course creator, coach, and consultant. I am the chief architect of the Breakthrough RE Facebook group and the designer and director of the 12 Weeks to Breakthrough Experienced Agent Training and Coaching program. Yes, that is me. Okay, so I'm curious from you guys. You saw the title of this particular webinar. You saw what was it about. So my question for you is, what are you hoping to get out of today? Go ahead and type that in the chat. What are you hoping to get out today? Give me like a 1 or 2 word answer on this. What could it be that you're hoping to get out of today? You got this. I know you're all typing feverishly. That's where it is. Okay. When we're talking about a business deep dive, there's a lot of parts of your business. So Alina, you're saying business tips. I love that. Thank you. And by the way, it'll be interesting, Alina, what you see, because this might be a little bit different take on kind of what you're thinking right there. When we're thinking in terms of our business, simple clarity for the next year, Aaron, you were going to get a ton out of this today. I'm going to tell you right now, you'll get a ton out of this. This is basically taken, it's a module that I've really condensed that's in our 12 Weeks to Breakthrough program that we do over 5 different lessons. But what my goal is today is really to start helping you understand when you're structuring your business, what are all the parts of that? Shane, I love it. Mindset, recent transitions have knocked the wind out of your sails. I got you, buddy. By the way, I bet you other people who are on the call right now, Shane, are probably feeling a lot of that like you. Certainly, it could be stuff in your life, but it's also business. And with the shifting market, that could be a challenge. And also, we're saying success. We want success. Okay, so I'm going to jump into it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And I want to take you kind of through an understanding of really when we're talking about structuring your business, how the whole thing works. So I'm going to give you a real high level overview here. So here's the thing. This line, let's pretend that this line here is the life cycle of a client or someone in your database. And this dot that's over here on the right-hand side, This dot is basically the time at which they close on the home that they are buying or selling. All right, that's the day they close. Now, this dotted line here, that is the point at which they get serious about wanting to buy or sell a home. And basically what the National Association of Realtors says, that is somewhere between 7 and 12 weeks. And let's go ahead and call that contract to close. Okay. Next, on this line here, everything to the left of that line, we're going to call that client acquisition. Client acquisition. And you've probably heard a different term for that. It's a bit of an old school term called lead generation, but we kind of expand on that a bit. We're going to call that client acquisition. And then the center is all about client cultivation. Client cultivation. So let me ask you guys this question. When we're talking about client cultivation, another word for that might be follow up and nurture. How much time do you think that takes? How much time? So if someone has come into your world and you've acquired them, how much time do you think client cultivation is? What do you think? Let me know in the chat. I'll bet you it's longer than you think. Okay, Aaron's saying 6 to 12 months. Okay. Aaron, can I surprise you just a little bit? Here's the thing. Client cultivation, 5 to 10 years. 5 to 10 years being really ready to nurture people throughout your database for 5 to 10 years. Because here's why. It's every 5 to 10 years that someone purchases a home on average. So when they come into your world, you are always following up with them. You are always nurturing them. You're always cultivating them until such time as they are ready to buy or sell. Now, there's only ever those 3 phases with someone who's inside of your database. Only 3. So client acquisition, client cultivation, and contract to close. Now, when you are looking at solving for issues or gaps or anything inside of these 3 phases, there's only 3 things that can solve for it. It's either going to be your strategies, so having a strategic plan for each of those. It's going to be having systems, processes, and technology available, or it's going to have support. So strategies, systems, and support are the things that are going to really help your client acquisition, client cultivation, and contract to close. So I want to kind of take a second here. And when we're thinking about your business and we're talking about those 3 phases, each of you have systems, strategies, support in each of those. You may or may not know that. For example, in your client acquisition, how many of you guys have a particular way that you deal with your database? For example, do you have a 36 touch campaign for your database? Or do you have open house strategies that you do? What is your number one? So Heather, you're saying, yes, you do have that. Absolutely. Hey, Heather, tell me, what is your number one, by the way, for client acquisition? I'm curious on that. Matter of fact, anybody, do me a favor in the chat, go ahead and tell me what your number one way of client acquisition is. What's your number one way to lead generate? Tell me that. It is more complex than a lot of people think. Heather, open houses, 80% of your business comes from open houses. Heather, way to rock. I love that. I love that. Right now, social media. Oh, I can totally see that with you, Shane, too. Social media, free and paid. So you're doing them both. Fantastic. Absolutely. These are ways to acquire clients. By the way, guys, there's about 100 different ways to acquire clients. You can find the way that really works for you. So I'm going to touch on a few things here so we can start looking at what those strategies, systems, process, technology, and support can look like. Okay. Same thing with your client acquisition. All of you guys do have things that you do to nurture those clients, right? So you might have an affinity program. You might have a 36 touch. You might have a call plan for them, all of those things. And then contract to close. You've got all your checklists, right? So what I want to do is I want to take you guys through some of the ideas around that. Okay. So let's start off with client acquisition. Very, very important part. And let's talk about common client acquisition systems and categories. Now, before I start this, what I want you guys to really understand and know is that when we're talking about these are systems that you may or may not have. This particular presentation that we're doing is really about a business deep dive, and it's a business deep dive into the gaps that you may have. So I'm going to be going through a list of things that I want you to think about. Do you have systems, strategies, or support for any of these things? So I'm going to kind of go through it. I might mention what some of these things are if it isn't necessarily making sense to you. By the way, what we're going to be going through, our coaches with our 12 weeks to break through clients, they actually go over this over several different modules, or several different lessons rather, and deep dive into each of these with our clients. So I'm not going to do that with you guys today, but I just do want to give you a peek kind of under the hood and what you might want to think about in terms of your business and what may be gaps for you. So let's go ahead and start off here. The first one, social media marketing processes. So Shane, I love how you said that social media is kind of your thing. So having those processes under your client acquisition is so important. Another one, client referral marketing processes. Do you guys have your client referral marketing process? And by the way, when I say processes, are they documented? Do you have them written down, or do you have checklists? Is it not in just your head, but it's actually down on paper or down digitally somewhere where you can actually follow a step-by-step process? I got to tell you guys, if it's just in your head, chances are your memory might miss a few things if you don't have these processes written down. So important. Trina says, I definitely need a VIP program for referrals. You better believe it, an incredibly important part. And so Trina, that would be a great thing for you to have in your systems with your client referral and marketing processes for sure. And Trina, yes, we absolutely. So Trina is one of our 12 weeks to breakthrough clients, and you better believe it. We can talk about that on your next call. You got it. All right. The next one, community outreach marketing processes. So what are you doing inside your community to really outreach those? If you guys caught our lead generation, old school versus new school, this is one of the things that we talked about in that weekly Wednesday webinar. Next thing, testimonials marketing processes. So first of all, do you have systems that are gathering those testimonials, right? For example, do you have it in people are writing it in text? You might have it in your Zillow. You might have it in some type of a testimonial capture format. For example, I've told you guys before, I use reach150.com. Or are they videos of people who are talking about you or the services that you've provided? So they can be both text and video on that. Next one is going to be landing pages marketing. Here's the thing, and I'll mention this again for you guys. You don't want to just have a static website. Do you have landing pages for the different types of clients you have? For example, let's say that I have a group of people that are golfers. And then I have a group of people that are investors. And then I might have a group of people in my database that are landowners or land sellers or buyers. I'm not going to have the same message for each of those people. I want to make sure that I've got landing pages that do have lead capture in them that drive people to those pages that are of interest for them. Those can be different pages in your website, or they can be standalone landing pages. So the question is, do you have those landing pages for your different groups? Different message for different people. Don't make that mistake of the same message for different people. Okay. Next one, video marketing processes. Are you doing video marketing? And what we've talked about before here, guys, on our weekly Wednesday webinars, we've talked about the importance of video of Reels, of Instagram? Are you doing TikTok? So many of those things are important in today's business. And really, really, that's what will stop the scroll more than anything else. It's going to be your video and video marketing processes. So do you have those? How about online content processes? For example, we've talked about listicles before. Those are those things that say, here's your top 5 reasons to sell your home in fall of 2022, something like that, right? So there are those types of online content. Maybe you have got a pamphlet or a guide that you want to share. That might be online content, okay? Next thing is, do you have a blog, a vlog, or do you have a podcast? How cool is that? Do you have those type of processes? Podcasts are so in right now. So if you're someone who really just loves to talk and you've got a message you want to get out there, absolutely podcasts could be a way to go. And do you have a process for that? Or do you have a blog or a video log? Either of those. How about your print advertising? Yes, there is still print advertising out there, if you can believe that. That's still available. By the way, print could also be those flyers that you send out, the mailers that you send out. But most importantly, what we're talking about is in print. Are you, like, for example, do you have a farm in a particular area, and is there a local paper for that particular area? That could be print advertising that you have. How about a geo farm or a demo farm? And what are the two differences of that? That geographic farm is in an area. It could be a zip code. It could be a neighborhood. It could be a county. It could be a state. It could be a country. Anything that's geographical. Demographic is different. Demographic might be first-time home buyers. It might be investors, right? It might be 55 plus communities. It could be anything that's demographic. Could be fun for you. So do you have those things? If so, do you have systems in place for those? Now, let's keep going. How about your seller client acquisition pillars? You have pillars. Let me talk about what pillars are to remind you guys, we've talked about this before as well. Your business, and I'll give you, let me give you an exercise to go in. And I always do this with my own clients. Go back to the last 3 years, take a look at all of the transactions that you've closed, and by every single one of those people's names, write down where they came from. Did they come from, like Heather, you probably have open houses a lot on those. Was it from open houses? Or Shane, it might be from your social media, right? By each of those people, write down where they came from. What you're going to discover is you're going to have 3 or 4 that really stand out, and probably one that's your number one. Then when I say pillars, they're your 4 main streams of where you get your clients. So do you have your processes and your strategies put together for your seller client acquisition pillars? And the strategy is, okay, how am I going to really make sure I am connected with my seller clients that I've had in the past? How about seller contact management processes? This is all about managing your database. Do you have a way that you contact folks? For example, do you use email? Do you use Facebook Messenger? Do you use a texting platform? What are the ways that you actually communicate with that person? Or old school, do you ever call them? By the way, what's the biggest challenge that you guys have right now with calling people? What do you think the biggest challenge is? I'll bet you know. How about this? Do people answer their phones? Do people answer their phones much now? So Shane, for you, anxiety. That would be an interesting conversation for you and me to have, Shane. We should hook up on that because I think that would be fun to talk about. Heather, actually doing it. Most people answer your calls. Heather, I can see everyone answering your calls if they're in your database. You are so lovable. I can totally see that. That's awesome. A lot of people don't, though. A lot of people simply don't answer their phones anymore, especially if you're doing FSBOs, expireds, that kind of stuff. So being understanding of that. People, and Elena says, people don't answer a number they don't know. You're so right. So sometimes that's a challenge. So there are new school ways of getting around that. And certainly new school ways of getting around that anxiety that you may have, or just getting to those things. There's reasons why you do that. And you don't have to be guilty or ashamed because of them. Ooh, I'll tease that. That'll be a Wednesday webinar one of these days. Okay. Let's keep going on to our seller appointment processes. Okay, now you are making appointments to go on a listing presentation or appointments with your sellers. For example, let's also say you've already got a seller in place. What are those appointment processes that you've got in place? What are the checklists that you got in place? So let's say, yep, someone's decided to list with you. What's the next thing before you even get them into under contract? How about your seller CMA presentation processes? Do you have your CMA? Do you have your marketing presentation and your listing presentation, your pricing presentation? Yes, there are several different presentations you do in a listing appointment. Do you have those things cataloged? Do you have those particular things in place? And do you have a strategy that you follow when you're going into those listing appointments? How about your seller pre-listing processes prior to becoming active? I mentioned that just a second ago. So what are all those processes? When does a photographer show up? When do you have people declutter their home? When do you suggest that they need to do some work prior? Do you have a pre-listing home inspection done? Okay, all of those things would be pre-listing processes that you'd have in place. How about seller post-listing processes? And that is prior to the accepted contract. So now you've got them, it's listed on the market. What are the things? What are your touch points with that client? How often do you communicate with them? All of those things are your seller post-listing processes. And again, these are things that you may or may not have. So this is a catalog for you guys of the things that you can start looking through. Let's keep going on this. How about your buyer client acquisition pillars? It's the same list, right? You're going to have your sellers and your buyers with all of those past clients over the last 3 years. Where did your buyers come from? They may have come from a different place. Like, for example, Heather, I know that for you, if you've got 80% of them coming from your open houses, maybe most of those were buyers. They might have been sellers too. Okay. But that definitely is, they could be different pillars based on if it's a buyer or seller. How about your buyer contact management processes? All right, now you've got someone who's come into your world, client acquisition. What are you doing with your database? What are all the ways that you keep in contact with those people? How about your buyer appointment processes? Do you have all of your buyer consultation books together? Do you have, for example, a checklist that you send out to them to have prepared before they even meet with you? Do you have a way just to really make sure that they are qualified even before they come to you? Do you have a pre-qualification system even that they go through? Okay. How about your buyer consultation and needs analysis processes? Do you have a needs analysis game plan for them? Do they understand the needs analysis? Do they understand how you are going to take care of them and how you're going to understand what they are looking for and then how to guide them through that process? Here's another one, how buyer search processes. Now I'm going to ask you guys a question. Here's one. Do you always get a buyer agreement signed? So that could be a buyer agency agreement, a buyer broker agreement, some kind of employment agreement signed before you meet or before you start showing homes. Love it. Trina, you say, yes, you do. Heather, yes, you do. Aaron, you do. Shane, absolutely. Love that, love that, love that you guys are doing that. Now, let me ask you this question. So your buyer is saying, please let me go show this house. I can't meet with you in the office, but let's just go and see this house. Would you show them the house before you sat down with them for a buyer consultation? What do you think? Heather says no. Okay. Okay. Nope, says Trina. Okay. Here's the thing. Absolutely. It is what you want to do is you are a professional meeting with them in the office. This is my take on it. You might have a different take on it, take it or leave it. But my particular thing is if they were meeting with an attorney, they'd meet at the attorney's office because it's that important. When they just want to meet at the house, that means they're getting all emotional about a particular house. You want to sit them down and help them understand that this is the biggest investment that they have in their portfolio, and it's important to sit down on that. Okay, that was my 2 cents worth on that. Okay, let's keep going on. How about your buyer lender referral processes? Do you have a process for making sure that you can refer lenders out and even making sure that that person is prepared before they meet with a lender? So all of these things, guys, are your client acquisition type of processes. You may have more. This may not be an exhaustive list for you. So let me ask you this. Were there some things in the list that you didn't have in your list? Were there some things that you go, wow, that was interesting. That was different for me. What do you think? Or did you have all of them? Were they different for you? Okay, lots of things that can be brand new for you guys. Okay. Heather's saying, yes, I need to get better at the lending. I just closed a home and wish I had used my lender. There you go. So the question becomes, if you had a buyer lender process in that, Heather, could you go through that and make sure that you could get them at least getting a second opinion on lending, right? Absolutely, you can do that. Okay, what kind of questions or ahas before I move into client cultivation that you have? Anybody? What's one big aha that you might have about what we just looked at as far as client acquisition? What do you think? Usually what it is that people didn't realize that there were so many. Okay, this is how we start really helping you understand your gaps. Okay, really is about, I appreciate that you're saying that, Heather. It's about you cleaning up your processes. Absolutely. And by the way, Heather, we cover all this in module 9. So this will be really fun for you. We take a big deep dive into your business on that. So I think you're going to love that when you get to that. Okay, let's go ahead and move on into our client cultivation. Before I do that, say, okay, Shane, biggest aha. I have almost all of the process set up in some way. What's not working is you. All right, Shane, you and I, we're going to sit down and chat. Is that okay with you? I'm telling you, I think this would be so fun to have a conversation with you. Alina, you're saying creating new processes and adjusting to old processes. Great point. Great point. Awesome. So let's go ahead and get into client cultivation. Again, here's our list. We are looking for strategies, systems, tools, technology, and support on these things. All right. So let's go in. Do you have automated electronic communication, email and text? Do you have automated? Is it automated and set up so you can set and forget it? When it's not, that means that you've got the heavy lift of always remembering when you need to email and remembering when you need to send texts. So there's a lot of CRMs out there that will give you both of those types of things. I know if you're with Keller Williams, you've got KW Command. I know for a lot of you guys, you can use Brivity. My whole team uses Brivity. There's so many different CRMs out there that can help you with that. Having that automated is so huge. All right. How about scheduled phone follow-up communication? Is it scheduled? When are you following up? How often are you following up? For example, do you have a quarterly call plan? Are you making sure that you're reaching out to folks? And by the way, if they don't answer the call, do you have a plan for that? Do you have a strategy around if they are not picking up that phone? because there are some things you could do with that. Okay, next one, scheduled equity evaluations. This is one of my absolute favorite ways for you to really provide massive value for people in your database. Equity evaluation, here's what it is. The biggest investment that most people have is their home. They may have a 401k, they may have other different types of investments, but usually the biggest one is going to be their home. But they never get a statement of earnings or a statement of equity on their home. The only way they get, well, most of the time what they do is they look at Zillow, right? Because they get to see the Zestimate. You and I both know, and it even says in the Zillow website that they could be 20 to 25% off either way at any given time. So you are the expert. So what would happen if you had a system and a strategy that said you were going to provide an equity evaluation? Another word for that is a CMA, but you would call it an equity evaluation for your top 20% of people in your database twice a year. What would that look like if you provided that much value? And we do talk about a lot about this in client acquisition in 12 weeks to breakthrough. So for you guys who are in the program, if you haven't gotten there yet, we will be talking about this. You guys will see it, but it is a powerful, powerful way to make sure that you are connecting with people that are in your database and they turn them into referrals or into clients. All right, how about periodic market updates? Are you periodically updating people on what's happening in the market? And you better believe that's the biggest questions people have right now. It's all about what is going on in the market. And everybody's seeing the bad news. Don't you love the news? Doom and gloom. It sells toothpaste. You know, commercials sell, so they keep people tuned in. Guys, all market is local, and your local market tells a different story than the national market. So just be aware of that. Okay. Affinity program management. Okay. What are you doing for those top clients? What kind of things are you sending them? For example, do you send them the annual calendar for their particular football team or their basketball team or their volleyball team or their soccer team? Are you sending out, like on Thanksgiving, are you sending out gratitude cards, right? What are the things that you do just to show people that you appreciate them and you have an affinity for them? Next one is going to be your client event appreciation management. And this is a big one here, guys. Are you doing client events? These take a lot of thought, a lot of planning, and a lot of systems to put together. This is a big one. I have seen people who are brilliant at this, and they actually even have an entire notebook put together, say they know exactly how to do it. And by the way, the first time you do an event, if you did it the next year, you'll add to it, you'll get better, and you'll get better. So having an event program actually is very, very strong, especially in this type of market right now. Let's keep going on. Let's talk about social media likes and replies. All right, you know the people who are in your database. I know a lot of you guys get on social media and you go down the rabbit hole. Set yourself a specific amount of time and set yourself an alarm. You know that you're going to go in there and you're going to do 5 likes and 5 comments, 10 likes and 10 comments, whatever it is, to the people who are in your database. And those would be your A+A and B clients that you have in your database. Make sure that you are commenting. They will see that and they will appreciate that. Keep in contact with them. How about social media celebrations? Are you posting on people's, on their particular pages, on their profiles, anniversaries, happy birthday, congratulations? Okay, what's happening on there? By the way, one of the most fun things you could do, I love this one. Go to YouTube, search happy birthday song. Okay. Find some videos on there, then go to your person's profile page and post that video link on their page to sing happy birthday to them. They will love it. They will love it. You will make them feel so special because it's not the average happy birthday. It's you did something that was important to them. Happy anniversary. Congratulations. Maybe they just got a new job. You want to congratulate them. Just take that effort with those clients. So important. How about social media content creation and posting? This is important, especially for you guys who have a social media strategy around your client acquisition. You also want to have that strategy around client cultivation. So who are you speaking to in your social media? How are you making sure that you keep connected to those people in social media? And it's all about brand awareness. Do they know that you're in the business? And how are you doing that in a creative way? It's not just your normal average vanilla post where you just took a new listing and you put a post up that looks exactly like the flyer that you have. That's not going to stop any scroll ever. You want to make sure that you're using strategies with your media content creation that will stop the scroll. Okay. If you ever want to know more about stop the scroll, just hit me up, private message me on message me on Facebook, and we can have a chat about it. Okay. All right. Your sphere of influence recognition gifts. Hey, did they have a new baby? Did they get a promotion at work? Did they move to a new city? What are the things that you can really send a gift for? Did they just get married? Right? Could be all sorts of things. How about your special mailing? Just because cards. Try that one on. Home purchase anniversary. I really hope you guys are sending out annual celebration anniversaries for when they purchase their home. So every year on the anniversary, are you sending out that wonderful card that says, thinking of you? I remember 3 years ago when you bought your house. I wonder if you've done any updates. Let me know. Those kind of, you can just say any of those things, but do you have a process and a strategy for those special mailings? Here's another one. How about your annual letter from the heart? This is one that is really great to go out in Thanksgiving. You guys may have heard me talk about this before. You know, in Christmas, when you have the family member that sends you this is what happened to us this year letter. It's really cool. So you hear all the things that are going on with them. You can actually do one of those to your database for just saying, this is a letter from the heart. This is what's happened to me and my family this year. It's about the thing that makes you very human. And in that letter, you're saying, I just wanted to tell you how grateful I am that you are in my life. You've been a part of my business and also a part of my world. And I wanted to share a piece of my world with you. So that's what an annual letter of the heart is. So those are client cultivation strategies for you. All right. Did you see any in there that were different? Did you guys see any in there that was like, boy, that was really interesting. I hadn't thought about that.
Hey, Cole.
Yeah.
Trina said AM cards is a great program for cards. And I would agree with that one.
Absolutely. AM cards, really great. You can write that card online, sends it out. But you can do all sorts of things with those cards, by the way. They have got gift cards that you can send with them. You can do brownies. You can do bears, little stuffed bears. You can do all sorts of like Mylar balloons. So those are really great. Heather, that your biggest stop the scroll. Here's one thing I will tell you to do, Heather. Go to your Facebook or your Instagram, okay, or your TikTok, and just scroll until something catches your eye. Start seeing what catches your eye. Start seeing the things that make you stop the scroll. That helps you really develop that strategy for stopping the scroll. Now, one of the people that we have on in our guest today, Aaron Bird. Aaron, you are about one of the most brilliant people on stopping the scroll ever. So if you guys just go search Aaron Bird, Maverick Real Estate. He's awesome. On your Facebook, he's so good. So just go do some of the stuff with Aaron. He's done a great job on his social media of doing those things. And he's been traveling. Let me tell you a little bit about Aaron for a second. Aaron's been traveling the country in an RV with his family. Aaron, tell me how many months it's been, like months and months. And his business is still going and he's been making money while he's driving around the country. So cool. So very, very, very cool. Lots of good stuff. So that is possible. So we can check him out on his Facebook. That'll be fun for you. By the way, great referral partner. Just want to let you know. All right. So let's get into contract and close systems categories. These are going to make a lot of sense. 7 months you've been on the road. Are you still on the road, Aaron? 7 months you've been on the road. Are you back yet? Or are you still out? Hilarious. 7 months the man's been driving around and still killing it in his real estate business. By the way, that was systematic for Aaron. He actually put a plan together to make sure that he could do exactly that. So, okay, you're back in Enumclaw, Washington. So glad. So if you guys are around the country, look up Aaron, great referral partner in that neck of the woods. So there's a lot of people on here. So I don't want to just say Aaron, even though I love you, Aaron. But there's a few people on here who are in that AARON, Alina, AARON. Thank you for that. You bet. Okay, so let's get into our contract to close systems. We're going to start off with your listing agreement, your offer, and your response writing systems. Do you have systems to put in place that listing agreement, the offer, the response, all of those things? They take systems and checklists. How about your compliance and documentation management? For example, you probably turn all of your listings and your transactions into your office digitally. Do you also print up those files and do you keep them in print form? Do you save them on an external drive so you make sure nothing can happen to them? What is your system for that? How about your transaction coordination? Do you have transaction coordinating systems? Now, this is not necessarily all your checklist or your transaction coordinator. This is about you and how you are doing your role in transaction coordination. How about listing coordination? Same thing. What are your systems, your strategies around listing coordination? How about your client communications? Do you have client communications from contract to close, either listing forward or purchase and sale forward or buyer agency signed forward? Do you have client communication strategies in place for that? Okay. How about your cross-agent communications and negotiation strategies, systems, process, technology support? Do you have those in place? How about vendor management? Do you have a vendor management strategy? For example, how many vendors do you have in your vendor program? Are your vendors helping you with some of your marketing? And so they earn the rights to be with your marketing. How many of them really do support what you're doing, and how many of them do you support? And by the way, who are all of your vendors? There are all sorts of different types of vendors, and creating those lists are so important in our 12 Weeks to Mastery program. So you guys who are in 12 Weeks to Mastery, if you haven't gotten there yet, that is module 8, and we talk all about creating those programs. All right, let's go into how about your contractor coordination and management? What are your systems, your strategies around that? How about listing support management? So your home stagers, your home organizers, how about all of those people? Okay, who is helping you with that listing support? Showing management, absolutely. What are your processes around that? Closing gift and home anniversary gifts. Remember, this is contract to close moving forward. Moving coordination. Do you have a mover or a movers? Do you have your own truck? Some people do. It's fascinating. Okay. Utility transfers. How about all of the different pieces that you have inside of the move? Do you have a full list for your buyer or your seller when they're making a move? Do you have a checklist for them on that? Okay. So those are your common ones for contract to close. Now let's get a little bit into your administrative ones. And these really are broad stroking your business. So we know that we've got the 3 phases. These are for clients. Now I want to get into a little bit of those strategies, those systems, tools, and technology, and your support around your business itself. For example, do you have a business vision and goal setting, development, and review strategy, a system for that? Are those things down? How about your calendar management? Do you have an assistant? Do you do that yourself? Do you time block your calendar? Do you have all sorts of different reminders and text messages, notifications inside your calendar? So what's your process for that? How about your CRM management? Who is managing your CRM? Are you the one who's making sure that all of the people in your database are managed correctly, that notes are captured, that you have up-to-date information, that you've captured things that are important for them, home anniversaries, birthdays, all those things? What are you doing inside of that? Do you have your touch programs inside of your CRM? How about your financial tracking and report management? Here's my question for you. Do you know how to look at your P&L and make decisions with it based on the numbers that are in there? Do you know how to make decisions for your business, specifically around client acquisition, using your P&L? Bet you didn't know you could do that, huh? You absolutely can do that. Matter of fact, I do have a video on that in our YouTube channel. And it's just saying making decisions using your P&L. That'd be a fun one for you to take a look at. How about your marketing systems design and management? What are all the marketing systems that you use? How about your team management? That's recruiting, onboarding, training, and retention. Let's keep going into from the administrative side. Do you have your vendor relationship management processes in place? Who is managing those vendor relationships? Are you doing that? Do you have an assistant doing that? Do you have people on your team doing that? How about accounting and bookkeeping systems? Team communications? How are you communicating with your whole team? Some of you guys who are on the call today, you do have teams. How are you really coordinating all of the of your communications with your team? Do you have, like, for example, Robin is our complete coordinator for everything on our team. I'm very, very lucky to have her. She does such a good job of all these communications. Coaching and education. For your coaching and education, do you have it coordinated? For example, do you know when all of your continuing education is due? Do you have a growth plan in place so that you know what's the next classes that you need to take your business to the next level? Do you have a coach for your business that really helps you understand how to implement things in your own business? These are all types of systems that you want to have put in place and support. Okay. Research and market analysis. What kind of research are you doing? And do you have a systematic approach to research and market analysis so you understand what's happening in the market? How about all your supplies and your equipment management? Who keeps all your supplies? Do you have an inventory of all your supplies? How about all of your equipment? Do you have big equipment that you could be depreciating? Does your accountant help you even with that? So do you know what your equipment is? How about systems design and implementation itself? Systems design and implementation itself. For example, in my business, I have a vision, right? I can put it out there that what I want to accomplish, and then I give it over to Robin. Robin's brilliant. She's the person who then can design all of our back-end systems and implement it, and then she rolls it out with the rest of the team. So if you have a team, that's the way to go. If you don't have a team, then when you have a vision, how are you systematically putting those systems in place? Okay. How about a virtual assistant? Do you have a virtual assistant, and how do you manage that person? You may have a virtual assistant that is an inside sales or an outside sales assistant. You might have a VA that does all of your marketing or your social media, or maybe they're an assistant that simply helps manage your calendar. There are all different types of virtual assistants. How about an automated dialer management? Do you use Mojo Dialer or some other type of dialer? Okay. I just mentioned this one, your ISA or OSA management. Again, this might be very specific to your business. How about your marketing partner relationships? Again, these might be vendors. These also might be other agents. Okay. So for example, let's say that you have a coordinated piece, and let's say that we have got somebody in, let's say, Arizona and somebody who's in Indiana. Okay. And you've discovered there's a lot of people in the winter that move from Indiana to Arizona, and in the summer they go from Arizona to Indiana. What if you had a referral partner in Indiana or referral partner in Arizona, and you guys tag teamed and made marketing relationships where you actually did social media posts, you did print posts, you did marketing out to people in those areas to refer across. Try that one on for size. All right, keep going. Referral partner relationships. Absolutely. Who are your referral partners? These could be other agents. These could be your home inspector, anybody who's a vendor. They could be those people. These could be other professionals that you use. For example, your attorney, or how about your dentist? Try that one on for size. Absolutely. They can be referral partners. How about lead follow-up systems? How are you following up on the leads that you are capturing in your client acquisition phase? These are administrative tasks I'm talking about now, not necessarily strategies. These are really more of systems and processes. How about your real estate license renewals? Do you have a process put together to make sure that you know when you are doing your renewals on your real estate license, or your MLS and your realtor membership management? How about other professional relationship meetings and coordinations? So for example, do you have a systematic way and process to communicate with your attorneys or your CPAs, any professional that's out there that's helping you with that? Oh, by the way, or your insurance person, by the way. Technology systems management. How many pieces of technology are you using, and how are you keeping track of all of them? You might have a one-stop fits all kind of a technology. You might have a lot of different technologies. Here's one. How about your sign and lockbox inventory management? Always keeping those. Or how about your buyer consultation and listing presentation preparation? Or how about your website, landing pages, mobile app? You see how we have all these things that you are managing in your business. Do you have systems for all of these things? If not, where are your gaps? Does that make sense for everybody? So that basically is, in a nutshell, when we're doing a gap analysis, we go through this pretty in depth with our coaching clients on getting, not only understanding what your gaps are, and what you're really doing great, by the way, but what are the systems now we need to go find? What are the systems that need to be developed? What needs to be plugged into your system? So it really is following your vision and your strategy. Is this helpful for you guys? Say yes in the chat if this has been helpful for you. Or if you had a really great aha, put it in there. Yes, yes, yes. Love that. Love that. So important. You know what? I had this really interesting call I wanted to share with you guys. Wonderful person who was, I was having a conversation with earlier today. And it was fascinating because she has never had a place, and you guys tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Basically, she's told in her brokerage, and she's been actually in several brokerages now, tell her the same thing. Hey, all you need to do is make your calls. You're going to be golden. All you have to do is do your lead generation a couple hours a day and you'll be golden. If you have any questions, let us know. If you have any questions, let us know. Here's the deal. She didn't even know the question she needed to ask. She's been around the business for a few years, but she might not even know what to ask. Alina says, that's exactly what they say. You are so right, Alina. That's exactly what they say. Here's the thing. Most companies out there do not have a systematic way of learning things. It's not their fault. No one ever taught them how to do it. No one ever taught them how to do it. So they're saying the things that they've always said. One thing that we do is we really take a very systematic approach to understanding your business, and we build on foundations. I've had a lot of you guys asking me about it. I'll probably put a video up on this week about what that is. But what I want to let you guys know is that we actually do sit down with agents and we take a look at your business. I do what's called a strategy session. I'll sit down with you. We will go over things in your business, some of the things that we talked about today, other things, some of your goals, whatever. And we'll start seeing what will you need to actually know. You may not even know the questions to ask. You may not know the training that you need. So I am so happy to sit down with you guys and do that strategy session with you. So here's what you can do if you'd like to sit down with me, and I would absolutely welcome that. Go ahead and you can click on this QR code if you like. Or if you don't have a QR code reader, you can go to calendly.com/Kole Finley/strategy session. Click on that, schedule some time with me. You can find a time on the calendar that works for you. And by the way, I would do it within the next few days, because here's what I know is that if you go longer than a few days and you schedule it, you'll cancel it. There's a reason why you want to have this strategy session now, and I want you to remember it, because there's gaps in your business, because you are really looking for those answers that aren't available now. Schedule it early, schedule as soon as you can, and then let's sit down and let's talk about what is really needed in your business to take it to the next level. So go ahead and click on that QR code, or you can go into calendly.com/Kole Finley/strategy-session. And for those of you who are not in our private Facebook group, do me a favor, check us out. We'd love to invite you in to join us. If you're not part of that, just have to be an experienced agent. Pretty simple. You go to facebook.com/groups/breakthrough RE. Go out there. And by the way, I want to say thank you so much to Diane Ibarra. Oh my gosh, you've been inviting all sorts of people like crazy. Ty Nguyen, you've been inviting people. I want to say thank you so much. That means the world to us that you've been inviting people to the group. Love that. This has been so much fun spending time with you. Was this good for you guys? Did we learn a lot? Did we do good? Awesome. Awesome. By the way, Trina, thank you so much for saying that. Trina says, schedule the call with Kole. She will help you double your business within a year. You're one of those. I'm so happy about that. Trina, you're so awesome. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you go. Going over time. Never want to keep you more than an hour unless I've told you about it. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll see you guys later. All right. Bye.